Welcome to DinsTalk, the space where soul wisdom meets bold action. I'm Mia Dins, your host, here to ignite your fire, help you claim your power, and guide you to take unstoppable steps towards your dream. Every episode is designed to awaken your purpose, fuel your passion, and spark transformation in your life. It's time to step into your truth and never stop. Let's dive in.
Hello, guys. Beautiful soul. Thank you for tuning back into DinsTalk. It's all about talking soul. And today I have a very special guest here, Tammy. And we have met online a couple of months ago, I believe. And we have developed like a really cool connection. And Tammy is an amazing, beautiful soul who is a light worker and is helping us to shift our consciousness and not just within the people, but also humanity at large. And one of her specific areas is actually working with the cords, with energetic cords that we have in certain soul contracts and specifically relationships. And I had the honor to have a session with her, or like a introduction session. It turned out to be a bigger session. And we will talk about that as well throughout the podcast today, throughout our session, our beautiful flow. She works with women, has her own website, her own platforms and everything. But I will let her introduce herself because I feel very honored that she's here. She will share her with them and all her beautiful experiences and explain more what she actually does. And so welcome, Tammy. Thank you for being here in the space. Thank you for sharing your beautiful energy. And yeah, just like here, that's your opening. You can introduce yourself in whatever shape or form you like.
Hey everyone, I'm Tammy. I'm so glad to be here. I, like Mia said, work in the energy of the chords, and I actually map out the chords that I see that needs to be released.
Very humble here, the introduction.
Yeah.
More into detail. Also, for the listeners to know, you actually are from America. You have this beautiful accent, but you lived for 4 years in Poland, which is also a beautiful connection between us because one of my grandparents came from Poland. I was born in a village in Germany close to the Polish border, only like 1.5 hours drive away. So, what a beautiful, beautiful connection. And then you are about to move to Italy.
Yeah.
They are Italians. So you are actually also, you have Polish roots, Italian roots. Tell us more about this.
Yeah. So I've lived here in Poland for the past 4 years. I've been teaching here as an elementary school teacher, third grade teacher. And during that time, I've just traveled throughout Europe trying to figure out where I want to stay long term. And it feels energetically like Italy is the place for me. So it's time to move forward and move on in life.
Yay, Bella Italia, here you come. When are you moving again? In the next month, isn't it? Or this month?
In a couple of weeks.
Oh, yes.
Right?
And then we will be closer to each other because you will not be as far. Here, Spain and Italy. So tell us about like a little bit about your story because this is a very specific thing to do, like right, going to the energetic chords and reading the chords is not as well known as, for example, working with the chakras or Reiki or Akashic records, stuff like that, right? So how did your journey begin and how did you actually discover your gift that this is something you can pick up within people? I mean, it's a beautiful gift to have.
Yeah. It was a happy accident, which I really don't believe in coincidences or accidents. My journey started out very much like everyone else, like with the energy healing and understanding your gifts and how it all works and talking to your guides. That's really where the introduction of my journey started until about 3 years ago, where I started to see this vision of bubbles and circles and some kind of cords that connected to each other and said, what in the world is this? Am I going crazy at this point? I don't know. So I just felt this need to draw it. So on the computer, I found like images of ropes and like put them with these bubbles together. And afterwards went to my mentor and said, what did I just do? She said, I don't know.
Yeah.
And at that point, I did that in the beginning of that year and put it on my vision board, and then did it the next 2 years after. And as I started doing this, I started to see that the energy around me and around the people that I had written on these maps started to change too. And it was this slow understanding that the reason why I did these ropes the colors that I did was because of the chakras and how they connect to the colors of the energy of the chakras. And with that, I said, okay, so I'm seeing some form of energy. What kind of energy is this? And as I worked even further, I did a healing with my mom where we released the umbilical cord energetically. And at that point, it's like, oh, okay, I'm seeing chords. So it wasn't like this instant, like, oh, I'm going to do this. It was like a couple of years of coming to the understanding of what I'm actually seeing and what I'm actually doing.
Wow, this is so beautiful. And you know what? This is showing as well that you just trusted that journey. You know how the mind tries to kick in and be like, okay, what is that? And what am I meant to do? And I always work this way myself too. Like if I have a vision, if I see something and I don't immediately know the connection, I just write it down or note it down, whatever, and I leave it because I have to believe it will come to me. The information that I need to receive will be given to me. It may never come. Maybe it was just there. And I do the same with the people I work with. I recently just had a client who received this dream and had a drawing and wasn't sure what the symbols are meaning. And I said, it will come to you. Just trust. They will come to you. There's nothing for you to do right now, nothing to figure out. The mind wants to try to get to it. And it may be that you're not able to receive it yet because you're not ready. You're not ready to receive this information, to hold the vibration of this information. And so it's like, isn't that the beauty of it? Is like a little quest, we love these computer games where we have the little quests given and then, oh, what's the next level when I open this treasure or whatever. And this is life. You get those things given. And it's beautiful. And I'm glad that you trusted that. And and then you kind of deepened that journey, right? And you started working with people and then you obviously saw there were like then tangible results because energy work is not tangible. That's the hardest part. That's the hardest part when people who haven't encountered anything in that sense, they want to see something. How does it work? Like how can I see results? So how was that for you? How was that experience?
Oh my gosh, I questioned myself so much because it had been 3 years of doing it myself and exploring within myself. Like, okay, I can feel this energy shifting within me. And I've seen the shift within my family members because that's primarily who is on these maps that I was drawing. But then when it came time to, well, I wonder if I can do this with other people, the ego came in for sure. Like, no, there's no way you can do this. Like, there's no way this will work. And it wasn't until I had a friend that let me do it. And she, like, I hadn't actually, it was like right before I was about to do the map, she started to have shifts. I did the map, she had shifts. And then afterwards, like, the shifts were wild. And it wasn't until like I started doing that more with other people, I'm like, oh, this is something that I can do. At first, I really didn't believe it was something I could do.
No, it's very, it's beautiful that you share this so vulnerable and open because this is what this journey is about. Like it's when we are about to do energy work that happens with anything in life. When you take something to the unknown, you can have them with athletes, you can have that when you enter into a new job or you're going to become an entrepreneur. Like there's no hell that I can do that because we don't know. And that's the unknown. But what it is about trusting it and moving forward. And what was something that you did on a daily basis, for example, that ensures that you connect with your soul, with your guide and fully trust it? Is there something that you do in particular?
I don't know if it's something in particular necessarily, because I feel like I'm at the point where I have a very deep connection with my guides. So sometimes it's not even that I reach out to them. They instead are like, hey, you need to listen to us. I do journal quite often. If I had to like say if there's like a daily practice that I do, it's probably that. I'm not the meditation person, to be honest. So it's probably journaling. And I also love music, but that's also one of my strongest gifts is I have clairaudience. So those are the things that I would say I do.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great. And when like obviously you had challenges in your life, of course. When was the very first time you discovered there are guides?
Many points in which I feel like I've realized that there was a connection to the divine. Actually, for me, it was in my 20s, early 20s, believing that there wasn't and like truly going away from spirituality, away from religion and all those things. But once I did start going on my spiritual journey, it was first finding a connection within myself and within my energy. And then even more so when I went to a practitioner who did Reiki and who did mediumship and me connecting in with my grandma that had passed when I was a teenager and getting a message from her that she's proud of me, that she is there with me, that I feel like is really when the things shifted for me and my gifts shifted and I started to really understand that I'm a spiritual being.
It's powerful. Then what would you think was one of your biggest challenges that actually shaped your path as well with your stuff? Or I know there were probably many, but
No, I think the thing that broke me, that broke my relationship with the divine in my early 20s was my mom having cancer. And I had already gone through my grandma passing, which was so hard. So then to go through another big event where someone was severely sick, I remember just praying to the divine over and over again. I was like, God, goddess, whoever is out there, like, please protect my mom. I cannot handle this. Like, I already handled it once when it came to my grandmother. I cannot handle this again. Please be there for me. And I was just so angry. I was so angry at the fact that someone I was around was going through this, you know? And now hindsight is 2020. I understand the energetics and everything of why that happened, but just being in that place of I'm just so angry and I just cannot believe that anything is even out there.
And thank you for sharing this. And I'm so sorry. It's so vulnerable, to letting go of that. I know how it feels when someone passes. And I had to talk to someone else today because you understand the soul contracts. Also, you can see possibly that your beliefs about spirit and that there's something greater out there had to get challenged in order for you to tune in more. It is this.
Yeah.
It's the way it is. And I also learned and got very much humbled by that we can talk this way. But if there was another person who's not believing or sharing these beliefs, that it's also not my place to say anything about that, about soul contracts. And I think that's something I really had to learn and really got humbled by life as well to understand that, to be like, okay, you know what? There are people out there who do not see it that way. And of course there are, but also that's my place to try to soothe them by talking about this. I find that was the most challenging part because when you can see it and you understand it, you want to help and hear you're coming from a place of love. But I understood that it's sometimes in that case, for sure, it's easier to say nothing at all and to just hold space and let them go through this experience, which we have to go through anyway. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. And I'm sorry, I never knew about this with your mom. How did her journey go?
Yeah. So, like I said, when I was 18, she had breast cancer. She beat the breast cancer, thank goodness. So grateful for that. But after that, I mean, there were definitely still darker times. She still struggled with her health in different ways, struggled with her mental health, which has been a journey, and maybe my soul chose this. Maybe my soul chose this for a reason because I had to experience going through my mom going through that, and her soul had to experience going through all the trials and tribulations that she did. But overall now, her health is fine. Thank goodness.
That's good news. But as you said, like there's a journey, and you said you did like some cord cutting or cord sessions, and you discovered a lot of things that are related to your mom. Are you happy to
Yeah.
say something about that? Just so it gives a bit of an understanding what that means and how this relates to the situation and how it can actually help you. The pain, it doesn't take away that you have to go through this human experience, but it does help with some deeper understanding, which essentially can accelerate the process of letting go and acceptance.
Absolutely. So, yeah, one of the things on one of my personal maps that I drew was my relationship with my mom and my mom's side of the family. And you've experienced with the mapping, whenever I draw a block, like there's kind of like squiggles that are there. And there was some kind of block that was there that I had drawn. That's the word I'm looking for. And it was like the color black, which to me has to do with the shadow side, the spiritual side, our crown chakra. And at that point, I had drawn that and I was like, I don't know what in the world this is. We'll see whatever comes unblocked. And it ended up being this relationship that my mom has with her side of the family and understanding all of the shadow sides that her family has and really coming to terms with that. And all of those cords were unraveled because I did that mapping.
It's so powerful. And, when we talk about those cords, like for people who have never heard about that, how do you usually introduce them to that kind of tool that you use and then your energy work? How would you describe that?
Yeah, I would describe it as if you have a foundational knowing of the chakra system and what Reiki may be or energy healing in general, that's where I would start. And then after that, thinking of the idea of the red string theory and the belief that we're all connected by different cords. And those cords could be serving us. they could not be serving us. And when it's time that they're not serving us, we have the ability, if we want and we're ready, to release them. So that's what I do with the mapping is I find the cords that are different colors according to the chakras and help you to release those cords that are no longer serving you.
That's so beautiful. I love that. I mean, I have this understanding that, but how would how can cords that we are not aware of, right? We have cords attached to actually basically anyone,
Exactly.
our partner, our family, co-workers, whatever. And we're not aware of that. How can it affect our energy system, our energy, our daily energy, our emotions, and our body, actually, really, as well?
Oh my gosh, in so many different ways. I mean, I think if you think about it, when you go into a space, like you go into work, for example, and you walk in and you have this knee jerk reaction of, oh my gosh, I don't like this energy. I don't want to be in this room. It's the same thing when it comes to the cords. If you're feeling that energy from just walking into a space, think about if you have a cord that's attached to you to someone else and that potential not great, icky energy that you're feeling from them multiple times throughout the day that you're unaware of.
And I have that, I had this experience, like some people would get scared now. They'll be like, oh my gosh. So when there's all these cords, what am I going to do? They get overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, do I have to do cord cutting every day? Or how does it work? So no.
No, no. I mean, I've heard cord cutting explained before. There's a couple of different ways. One, you like imagine a cord and you cut it like with scissors, or you take candles, you have a rope and you burn it that way. And that's how you release the cords. But I feel like that's not looking at the greater picture of things. It's not looking at, like saying with my mom, this block that's been holding her back and all these cords that we're tying around it. We're only releasing the cords when we're ready. It's not like we're trying to force something to happen. It's when your energy is ready for that release.
Yeah, how you say that. And also, of course, everybody has their own hygiene, like routine, or that like taking a shower. It can be very simple. I, for example, have this invocation that I use, that I release all the energies that are not mine and, return back to sender of our souls. And I have my visualizations. Could be like, I do everything from a place of love. I don't need to burn or do these things. Rarely I do it these days. I used to at the beginning because I was coming from the mind, like, let go, get out of it. And sometimes it's needed. I even say to the people I work with, if you feel the need to swear, swear. If you need to say fuck off, say that. It's about, I'm going to be here very authentic and raw. It's about claiming your space, claiming your energetic body, like claim your emotions, like you claim your physical body, your physical space, the same thing. It's just energetically. And whatever comes to you easily is what you use. If it's a visualization, some people may need to physically cut a cord in order to do that. But it's really like, it's an exploration. There's no right or wrong. There's just whatever feels good to you. And when we go now, for example, the session you did with me, right? To give a bit of a background, I was asking about, because I did some womb space healing for myself. And I worked with my womb space since over a year intensively, because I have definitely, this dysregulated or irregular menstruation cycle. And also I was going into this deeper healing space more because I wanted to release old cords and energies from all the, sexual partners I had, where I wasn't consciously choosing from a place of love, but more from a wounded place, and things like that. And really taking care of this beautiful vessel. And so I basically had already my period around that time. And I said to you, it's only like prolonged. And I feel like there's some, like womb space. There's something that's still like attached. And I know also there's a connection to my ancestral lineage, which I was already aware of. And at the same time, I also ask you if there is any major block that holds me back right now to receive or to attract my soulmate, or, like close gap or whatever. And always coming from this empowered place to look at the relationship within myself. What is blocking me, right? Is there anything, right? And so you said, oh, because I wasn't sure, should I pick one? I said, oh no, they're both intertwined. And then it was beautiful because it was meant to be like a short, introduction, discovery. It ended up to be an hour, but also because you saw so many things and we had like beautiful experiences together. So can you talk about what you like? I don't know if you remember what you saw and felt and how this was all connected.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I loved our experience together. I feel like it not only helped you, I feel like it was a reflection to me and things that I needed, which is why I love spirituality now. And it really was tied together for me because from our discussion, like you do want this partner, but there is this sense of also like wanting ownership of yourself and your own energy and finding a balance between the two. And it's so merged together because to be able to be a good partner, you also have to know yourself and be able to love yourself and hold yourself. So that was something that came through to me on top of your future with your partner and all of the beautiful things that are going to come in for you in the future.
Yeah, and I love like what we saw as well, and then instantly the connection with my father as well, because you saw the masculine energy, and that has a lot to do with the process I'm going through right now, where I'm letting go and cleansing this. Like, and when I want to say, just for the audience, when I talk about masculine energy, I don't mean to disregard it. I love masculine energy. It's the action energy. Is like I'm having this very dominant within me, but I overused it at times where it wasn't serving me, and that instance, it was about my femininity, to embrace my female cycle. And I have pushed this away and ignored it because of, like being an athlete, and then constantly the last 7 years with boxing, and completely overriding the need of my body to have a couple of days rest to allow this. And it was all my fault because I was in this, in this mindset, this is what I got to do, and fire through and push through. And then also, like, coming from childhood, and you saw that right away with my father being really strict, very disciplinary, and wanting to be seen by him, wanting to be acknowledged through performance, through achievement. Oh, good girl, you have made the first place, or you're training hard, you're working as hard as a man. And then, also growing up with my three brothers around me, very masculine energy, and always needing to prove myself. And that, I love what you said with, like, for me, it's really important. And it is something I constantly work on right now, this balance between wanting to really have the ownership about my own energy, be like, okay, that's my sacred space, but at the same time, also allowing space. And that reminded me of something that was in a podcast yesterday that I had with the beautiful soul Barry. And before he met his soulmate, he said he started to actually physically make space for this person. He even and cleaned up the cupboard to say, look, if I want to have eventually someone who is with me in my life, I need to make space. And that really, like, that activated something within me, because I realized from my past relationship, and I give that to my ex-partner, he was, that he mentioned that a few times, said, you never have time for me. You never have time for me. And I must admit that he was right, because there was like, okay, in the morning I do my spiritual practices, then I have training and boxing, and then looking after dogs, and then I need to go in nature, and and doing things and create and write and move my space. And it's very true. I could see that, I wasn't making space for that. So this is a good reflection, and that was so beautiful that you also saw that. And it's for me to work with that and be really aware. And I have taken that definitely, into my space and work with it. And what I wanted to share also for the audience was, what was really powerful was, because at that time I said, my cycle was already like prolonged, and was one of those longer clearing processes. And I felt the day before I had some symptoms like nausea, and felt a bit off. And even when we met that day, I had a nap before, literally. I was like so tired. And I thought, okay, what's going on? I mean, I worked a lot, was a lot, pushing myself. I understood that part. And then I remember I messaged you the next day, because I woke up, that went to sleep, and then I woke up in the night, and I thought, literally, I was sweating. I was like, what's going on? And I thought I actually peed myself. I thought, okay, Mia, it's not time for incontinence yet. We haven't reached it, because I thought, okay, there's something. And basically I had like a major release, and of releasing, bleeding. And I was like, I wasn't freaking out, but I was like, wow, because I didn't expect that, right? It was literally, we did the session, and I just point this out, not because I want to freak out listeners and talk about my period and no filter here. Like, so guys, honestly, if you don't want to listen to that, just forward the whole thing. But coming to the point of, like, how this energetically led to a major release. I've never experienced that my entire life.
Yeah.
Never like that. And it was so powerful. And I was like, all right, I didn't know that this needed to be released. And still going, but it was like, almost like, I can't even describe it. When somebody asked me, it was almost like a whole identity shift, almost like it was like a really really like, okay, now this is gone. This cycle is done. And I'm not menstruation cycle. I'm talking about the cycle of like carrying ancestral stuff, carrying like old limiting beliefs, carrying like the thing of like, I have to always be in my masculine, have to perform all the time. And I'm not saying that there are not residues left that I need to not work with. Of course there are. There always will be. But it was such a major, profound release. There was also like a knowing of like relax, like don't try to control any of that, like the soulmate thing, or like getting ready for things, and will I be in the right balance, but really just trusting the process. So yeah, it was powerful.
I love that. I know that you told me like right after it happened, but it gives me such a sense of wow, like even I'm shocked by the degree of like how working in this modality and doing this work can really help shift people and help shift energy so quickly. I'm even surprised half the time.
Too, when I do stuff, my beautiful people and clients, like I'm surprised too. I will never stop, guys. That's why I love doing what I do. And also, you mentioned that at the beginning that you learned that you got activated throughout our session too, and you learned something. And that's always the case for me when I work with people. Every single time something gets activated. Same with the podcast. Every single time I just something that's so humbling and it cracks me open, and I'm like, wow, that's why I love what I do and allow the space. And with like, for example, like just for people to understand this now, when you did the session and then I told you about what happened, and how would you usually now guide someone through this? I mean, I have obviously my own tools, and
Yeah.
but how would you do that when they come something like this?
Yeah. So when someone comes to me and we have these massive shifts, I would love to continue to work with them, and help them to continue through these shifts. Within what I do, I offer texting support so that, as like you went through that huge transition the next day, my gosh, I had this cycle that released. Now what do I do with this energy? How do I move forward? I want to be the person that is there helping you along the way, because as that energy releases, a new energy is going to come up that needs to be released again, because we're constantly changing. We're constantly in cycles that we're able to heal through all of the things until you get to a sense of whatever we're working on, whether it's understanding your life's purpose or connecting with your guides or whatever it may be. You're at the place where I feel like, oh, wow, I'm good. I'm good now.
Yeah, no, it's powerful. And you know what? The integration phase, and I always say that, that's why the way my sessions are designed is like you have a session with me, but then you have a 2 weeks integration phase with me where I'm available, like, of course, within boundaries, but because the real stuff happens afterwards. Like you
Mhm.
see with stuff, and because I was very receptive, very open, and do a lot of work. So I was available, and obviously I had the capacity to receive that energy and the information, and my body was able to release that in that very moment. But it may happen a couple of days later, maybe a week after. And that's why I always tell people, like, the session itself, you may not feel something consciously right away. It's not tangible, but afterwards everything happens. And that can show up in various symptoms. Like, say, what are some common ones that your clients share with you?
Oh my gosh, I've had such a myriad and like such amazing ways. So I had a friend that I did a session with recently, and she had just had surgery about a month and a half ago. And she was like, I'm still feeling pain from the surgery. We finished the session, and like within an hour, she's like, my foot feels better. And then I've also had someone where they have like a difficult family situation going on, and they've been waiting for months for help from legal aid, and like it hasn't happened. And within 24 hours, there's movement in
Mhm.
that situation. An energy work that you do, depending upon your situation, the results you might have is so varied, but you do have some kind of result in some kind of way, and there is some kind of integration in some kind of way, like you said.
And what I want to judge on as well is, like, for example, someone may ask about their health, and usually the mind would say, oh, to go and approach your health directly, go to the doctor, take some supplement, rest, whatever, and that all is beneficial. But they may need to go inward and resolve something with a family member. Like, there's a cord attached to a family member that holds back, and that is actually causing, the health issue, right? Is that the case?
Yes. Oh my gosh. There's a saying that one of my mentors told me at one point in time, and it's form follows energy. So if you have energetic cords or energy in general stuck within your body for long enough, it then begins to manifest within your physical body. So if we're able to release those cords and understand from an energetic perspective how we're being held back or weighed down, and we're able to release that, then we won't be able to have to experience it in our physical body.
Yeah. Well, this is what most people are not aware of. That do what we do, and we have this energetic component, that we approach the energetic body, because very much the physical body, a lot of people, we know about that. Then we have the mind, a lot of people about that, and the emotions has come into the forefront more and more and more over the years. And now we start to see the energetic body as well. That was always missing. And it all is together a holistic approach, right? And so that's why it's so important that we do this work, right? And then I always say, look, the way you eat, your nutrition and exercise, all that plays a key part. There's something deeper. We need to find out what's the root. Why is your body holding on to that? Why is your body constantly inflamed? And I have my own experience with that, with my own journey, because I have, always been athletic and looked after my body, but there were so many components that I couldn't see. And so that's why I dove deeper into that and realized, okay, I'm carrying some stuff there that is not even mine. They're unprocessed emotions that lead to inflammation in my body, hormonal imbalances, like we
Yeah.
talked about, my cycle. There's something because I suppressed that, right? And even after all these years doing all this work, and as we know, there's always something coming up, and which is the beauty of it. It's a never-ending story. But like you said before, once you start having your tools and start to embrace it, it's actually kind of fun, and through it much quicker. Than it doesn't take long, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because I feel like the more, in my experience, the more you do in spirituality and the more you learn on different tools, between past life regression, energy healing, emotion coding, whatever it may be, what you're actually doing is learning more about your soul. You're learning more about how your soul connects to your energetic body and who you are as a person.
Yeah, I love that. And where to from here? What is your big vision? What is Tammy wanting to do next here? I know you're helping a lot of people, and what's coming next? Do you have like some sort of idea? I know you're moving, but yeah.
Oh my God. Honestly, I don't know what's next. I feel like I went on this journey of being a spiritual mentor, and through it, I've seen visions, obviously, as we do as spiritual people, of like what's going to happen. And it doesn't unfold the way that you expect it to. So I see the visions of like, I'm supposed to help a whole bunch of people and, create change. How that's going to happen, I don't know. That's the ride.
Yeah, perfect. I love that because you don't know. And that's why of this question to ask, because I would give the same question answer. Like I do, of course, have a vision. Of course, I have certain desires that I can see, but do I know what's going to happen next week, next year? No, I can't give an answer. I have kind of like a roadmap, but the path will appear. And now before I really wanted to freak out the audience a little bit. And I told you I'm going to touch base on this topic. About our session, and Tammy could have possibly not known that at all. I can't even remember. And I've actually never mentioned that in my episodes yet, because I'm like, I always love to have some jokers up my sleeve to freak out my audience. Okay, guys, it's me. Absolutely, whoever is not into that, it's totally fine. But we're going to talk about that, because since we are talking about energy, it's not just about seeing spirit that passed away, but also or passed over already. But we can also see the future, because we are multidimensional beings. There are multi-dimensional infinite timelines happening simultaneously. Our mind will never grasp that. Never even try. I don't even dare to try. But you saw my daughter, daughter for this lifetime, Luna. And just for the audience to say, I actually channeled her, I think it was 2017, the very first time. At that time, I remember I was in New Zealand sitting outside. It was a Friday night. I had like a vodka, one, guys. Just mentioned at that time, I was drinking still, which I don't do anymore. And all of a sudden, I felt the spirit, like a girl, very playful, very cheeky, mischievous a little bit, but very like a very big sense of self, right? Knowing. And I was like, who are you? And she started calling me mommy and mama. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I thought, okay, Mia, now it's time to stop drinking. And I bet, mm-hmm, not freaking out as in the sense of like, I'm out of it, but it was more like the kicks in, the doubt of the mind. So I wrote it down, and later on, a couple of healers, really renowned healers, saw it. They actually asked me, "How is your daughter?" I said, "I don't have a daughter yet." Oh, I can see her; she's there, and So how was that move for you when you saw that?
Oh my gosh, I love this conversation that we had. So I remember I pulled out that card from my deck and I asked you like, is there like a child in your life? And you're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, because I'm seeing a child and the way you describe her now is exactly how I saw her. And it's just so interesting because obviously you hadn't told me about her. I knew nothing about her. And the fact that I saw her that clearly in that way was so amazing. And it makes me so excited to talk about this because I, like you, have seen a vision of my future children. And I feel like it's something that isn't really talked about in the spiritual community, that you can see the spirits of your babies before they come. And I realized this afterwards, and I haven't told you. I realized when I had the vision of my daughter was also 2017.
My gosh, this is crazy. And I know that goes further. Even now, you go to Italy, right? And we know that there's a soulmate connection with you, and also for me as well, connected to Italy. And it's interesting because when I was 14, I made this. And I have never met an Italian guy at that point, right? But I said to my mom, I made the statement. She was used to me making those statements. Mom, I'm going to marry an Italian guy, kind of a thing, right? And she was like, "Oh, okay." I'm just saying, I mean, anything is possible. Timelines change. What I'm saying, most of my soul family comes from Italy. And so there's a connection, whatever that may mean. It can be totally different culture, but there's a connection. So it's interesting that we had that too, 2017. Wow. And I know some people will be really freaked out by that right now. And guys, it's totally cool. If that's something that's out of your beliefs, that's fine. I remember that one guy, I can't remember, I think he shared that on social media somewhere or YouTube, who he also felt his baby, his future child already coming. And he was always like wondering, who is that girl? And then a couple of years later, his wife got pregnant, and that was exactly that spirit. That's so beautiful. And also with the name, like Luna, and I have a tattoo which is dedicated to her. It was my very first tattoo, and also of course the relation to the moon, because I love the moon cycles and stuff. But apparently when I was younger as well, when I was 14, 15, I must have told my best friend, my daughter's name will be Luna, but I didn't remember that. I thought it only came later to me, basically at that time in my 20s, whatever, that I thought, oh, I love, Luna, the moon, la la. And then interesting, I didn't remember that, but she told me, oh, yeah, you always said your daughter's name is Luna. I said, interesting. It's crazy, no? When you put all the puzzles together, and we are not conscious about it, we'll get shoved away in a subconscious. But it was so beautiful because I could then see your daughter. You're not very much clear on the name yet. First, you said Aurora, like your your business, like your purpose business name. But I could see them both, playing together. They were showing up, and they're just there. And it's just about the message as well, like being aware of that, and they're there to guide us too, because they're souls we have soul contracts with, and we are inviting them coming in right to this earth. And so it's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. And I think it's so cute and funny that like I saw the same vision. I saw the vision of them like playing together and kind of joking and being kind of silly. And it's like so interesting to me. I'm like, okay, are you guys just friends in the spiritual space? Are you going to be friends when you come in too? They're playing like they're pulling the strings already on the other side.
And you know what? I didn't say that, but this is something that just happened recently. I had a session with a client, and they also like part of my soul family. We kept talking after a little bit. I wasn't saying anything. They don't know anything about that, don't know anything about me having children, not children. And we were talking about something in general about school system, la la la. And I was thinking in my head, oh, Luna is never gonna go to a normal school. And he said, oh, did you just talk about your daughter and your school? And he basically picked up telepathically what I was thinking. And then something happened. I was actually there, and she was basically playing some little mischievous games, like stuff in the bathroom. There, no, but like Honestly, I mean, I think I'm going to stop right here because people will probably freak out, but I had to laugh about it. And I'm just like, I love this stuff. And of course, always being very cautious. I always say that to people, like, put your protection shield on, and you do that, right? The energetic field, clear it, cleanse it. And because when we open ourselves up, we always invite, duality as well, darker spirit things that we definitely don't want to have in our space. And that's why it's so important, the work you do, to become aware of what cords are we attached to, what is blocking, what do we carry with us. So many people carry potentially a suitcase full of rocks with them. Yeah, and like Victoria speaking, without even knowing them, and they carry it and carry it. And why would you do that? Who wants to carry like a suitcase with rocks throughout the life?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my gosh. And that's like a whole other area of things that I do and things that I can see. I can see like the more, I don't even know what the right word is because I don't like the connotation with it. I can see the darker energies, the darker beings, and it's really interesting to see it because once you start tapping into the quartz and understanding why it's that way, it gives light to who they are as a spirit, as a soul, and understanding how they got to that point and why they got to that point and how you can help them to heal past that and go back to wherever they are meant to be in the ethers.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that is, I know it's a whole nother talk, but this is that's why I always say to people, because you can find so much out there on social media and YouTube now, how to tap into the space, but be really cautious, like really be good with someone who has some experience. I'm just saying that because, we work in this space. So there of things you don't want to attract. So is there any message you have for the audience right now that you would like to pass on before we finish off and wrap up? Because I know we can talk for hours, but we may need to do another session on that.
Yeah, I think just if you haven't started, tapping into your energy and exploring who you are and who you are as an energetic being, try it. Try it and try and understand who you are. And then if it leads you down the path of understanding your core, it's amazing. If not, just really understanding who you are is so important to understanding your soul's purpose and why you're here.
I love that. Beautiful message. I couldn't have said it better. And that's also my message. Like, get to know yourself. Just like you are interested in other people, other things, that just really explore it all. And whatever resonates with you, do it, keep it. What doesn't, just leave it. And that's all we need to say for this. So thank you so much, Tammy. And just lastly, where can people find you if they want to connect with you, learn more about you, work with you?
Yeah, so you can find me at my website, aurorarelationshiphealing.com, or social media. I have Instagram and Facebook, the same thing, Aurora Relationship Healing, or you can just email me directly at Tammie@aurorarelationshiphealing.com.
Perfect. I will also make sure I put all the links in the description box below, guys, so you can definitely connect with Tammy as well. And as always, please comment below if there's anything you have a question about or something that may not have resonated. Totally, we are open to anything and we're happy to answer. And thank you so much, beautiful soul. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing, Tammy. I love your energy, and I know there's so much more to come. And thank you for taking this time and sharing your story and being vulnerable. And I really, truly appreciate you and appreciate the work you do and walking this path, which is not easy. And living a soul-led life. And I can't wait for you to be in Bella Italia.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I've really enjoyed our time together.
Thank you. Okay, bye, guys.
Thank you for tuning in to DinsTalk. I hope today's conversation sparked something within you. Remember, you have the power to align with your soul, take bold action, and live a life fueled by passion. Don't forget to subscribe, share with others, and leave a comment if this episode resonated with you. And as always, do it, never stop. Until next time, keep claiming your fire and your power.